This is the strategy that works. We've been doing this for the last 3.5 years, and it's going to get the most levels of engagement.
Because I say it respectfully. It's time to eat up, right like a speeder, taking it deeper, and that's how it better be. I never let the comparison get to me. I just remember the promises meant for me. I know the enemy and that he's in for me. I keep the blood of the lamb as my centerpiece. I cannot trust in no crystals or energy. Look at the chemistry, it do not even mix chemically. Most of the tricks, they be gimmicks, they mimic the truth. It's poison and we got the remedy.
And what we're looking for is people that are hungry, wanting to hustle, wanting to break through walls, wanting to go after that legendary status.
They say you ain't about it. Tell them that you finna make it, but they doubt it. But you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers. I don't know, but I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I just know that I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it.
What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. It's Tuesday, so we're here to talk about industrial marketing. We're going to be teaching you old dogs and you young dogs out there some new tricks of ditching the traditional. For those of you that are new to the content, head over to YouTube and subscribe. We've got over 1,900 videos all about industrial marketing, industrial sales, everything that I've known for the past 25 years almost. I don't want to age myself too much. 24 years in manufacturing, running this agency, MFG Tribe. I'd give it all out there for you guys for free to teach you something and possibly help you out with your revenue generation, marketing initiatives, sales initiatives, training, anything in between, or just entertainment, and showing you cool things like these shoes, these custom shoes. For those of you that were at FabTech or followed all of our content pre-FabTech, you saw a lot about these Nike Dunks that we created. And those of you that are at FabTech saw 12 of us wearing them, and I'm wearing mine right now. And that's just the way that we roll. It's all about getting attention. So let's dive into it. If you're coming from YouTube, watch this on the replay, go over to LinkedIn, follow me on there. We post multiple times a day, all about here to help you. So for those of you that are watching this live, leave a comment in the comment section. We didn't promote this too much because we've been busy, some busy bees over here making a lot of changes and producing a lot of content for clients and getting new clients onboarded. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to promote it. So there's probably not a lot of people watching this live, but that doesn't matter. Catch it on the replay. So today's subject is moving past old marketing methods, how to train these old dogs. So the first thing I want to talk about, there's only going to be a couple points here, no whiteboard as you can see, is if you're in manufacturing, like most industrial companies, your marketing methods are typically pretty outdated, except for the bigger companies that have a team that are bringing new ideas outside of the box, fresh thinking from different industry backgrounds, etc. But usually it falls on deaf ears, and that's because traditional industrial marketing people are focused on just doing like, let's just do what's been working, quote unquote, but typically they don't really audit how well it's working. So if you think about the situation, whether you're doing a service or a product, let's talk about evolution, the evolution of technology. And marketing is no different, but if you were still using the machine from 10, 15, 20 years ago versus this brand new type of equipment or machine, what type of operational throughput, what type of energy savings and efficiencies would you see, right? 10-year-old technology versus current time technology. It's pretty drastic. I mean, every 3 years with technology, it's like a huge leap. We see it with consumer electronics, we see it with devices, and it's no different than seeing it with machinery. Oh, now my machine can communicate with this device that goes in the cloud, and I could see all of the stuff at my computer, right? That's been going on for 10, 15 years, but now it's even more efficient. And my ERP connects in this way. And my machine can do all these additional features and robot technology and machine tending. All that stuff has been going on. And it's been pretty drastic over the last decade. The same is true for marketing. Like, do some of the tried and true things work? Yes, to a certain degree. But there's all this new stuff that's been coming out over the last 3 to 5 years, new ways of doing things. But it usually stops when it gets to the top and they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And it's typically from a comfort level. Like, if the person making the decision isn't comfortable, doesn't understand something, then they say, I don't want to go down that path. But if I could prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that if you go down this path, you will see an ROI, you will see a big return, and you'll gain more of whatever it is that you're looking for: brand awareness, leads, deals, revenue, breaking your product, your features into the marketplace. If I can guarantee that that will happen, then you would be more likely to say, okay, let's try it, right? But who am I? I'm one person running a awesome agency here, and we do this every day for clients, and we have data to support it. But even still, it's like just the initial, if I said, you guys should start doing video content, pushback that we get would be like, oh, well, there's no way we could do a lot of it. We already have one video. Okay, but imagine every single service that you offer in every single industry, and your culture and your company and your value proposition for all those things. All of those can be videos, whether it is 45 seconds long or 14 minutes long, they can all be videos. So when we talk to companies, they're like, well, yeah, we want to do videos, but like, how many could you do? And we'll say, I don't know, like 100 to 150 in a year, if you break it down to long form and short form. And they're like, well, there's no way that you can keep that going. Yeah, you can. You can do that every single year. You just have to get creative with what you're talking about, basing off of the data that's showing engagement levels and what people do and don't like. But initially, they're like, I know nothing about it. Because traditionally, with video, they'll make a 4-minute long video, and it's a company overview, and it's great. And they spent a lot of money creating it. And then they put it on their website, on their About Us, or their homepage, and then that's it. And so they're comfortable with that. So they'll spend $15, $20, $30, $40,000 to create that video. But if I said, hey, let's create an entire content strategy and drip it out over an entire year, and we're talking 120 videos, then they're like, oh, I don't even know if we can do that. So it's, again, still, they're saying no. You guys are typically saying no because you're just uncomfortable and you don't understand it. For those gun enthusiasts out there, it's no different than somebody that doesn't know how to shoot a gun versus somebody that does, and the comfort levels with handling a firearm. As somebody learns more about shooting, if they have a passion for it, they'll feel more comfortable with handling a firearm. They won't think it's as scary. But with marketing, you have to look at it and say, what's been changing? There's been technology changes, social platform changes, the way that people are interacting, the things that people want to see, the attention span, engagement level, the places where they're spending their time and attention, what else is in between their attention and you getting in between, what's the noise in the market, whether it's the current election or whatever's going on. You have to figure out ways to break through that. And in order to do that, you have to try different methods. And so here, whenever we talk to new people, it's like, what are you currently doing? What is your goal? What are you currently doing? And how fast do you want to get there? And if somebody says, oh, I just want a 10% increase and I'm willing to wait 5 years to do it, okay, you don't have to spend a lot to do that. You can move slow at what I would consider like a traditional pace. But if you want to move quickly and you're looking to grow even 15, 20% year over year, then you have to be invested in a lot of different areas. So just always tie it back to, before you say no to a new idea, a new technology, a new initiative with marketing, just go back to, if somebody came in my plant from the machine manufacturer or from a material supplier and said, hey, we got this new thing and it's going to do X, Y, and Z for your operations, the quality of your product, whatever, you typically would be like, yeah, let's talk about it. Just take that same mindset and just be open to conversations about what are people doing that's working right now, and how can I get on board with that to beat out my competition? Because all of you guys pretty much are doing very similar things, especially on the service side. You can have people that niche down and say, I only do products for these industries, or I only do products for these types of parts. But there's hundreds, if not thousands, of the same type of companies that are all fighting after the same business. So how do you differentiate yourself? You have to be different with your marketing to beat out the competition. The second thing I want to talk about is data. You have to be tracking data. I've talked about this on like every other live. I talked about this at the MT Forecast presentation I give on marketing strategy and the workshop I did. It all comes back to data. Data supports everything. It does it in your manufacturing environment with your equipment, your throughput, your operations, all that stuff. Quality control, it all comes down to data. You make decisions every day based on data, but if you're not tracking your own marketing data, what could you possibly be deciding on? You're basing it off of theory or emotion and not just pure logic with data. So whenever you make a decision, you want to try and pull your emotion out of it and say, let's just look at the raw numbers. What does this show? Have we seen growth with this? Has this been working? We just invested X amount of dollars at the trade show. What is the ROI on that? Even if you can't find out the ROI within 90 days because of your selling cycle, even if it takes you 9 months, you can have some good idea if you've been doing it for a while of, does this trade show typically produce these types of results? If I get 100 people, 200, 300 people through the scanning system, how many realistically would I expect to turn into an actual opportunity? And what's my close percentage on those opportunities? Well, I don't know that information, but if you're tracking data, you would. If you had it housed in a CRM system, Salesforce, HubSpot, Apollo, like anything like that, if you have it in a CRM system, I can say, last year or 2 years ago at this show, you did this many leads. It turned into this many opportunities, and from those opportunities, these many closed. So now you know your conversion from a lead to close percentage, and you also know your conversion from a lead to an actual quote, and then your quote to close percentage. Once you know all that, it's just a numbers game. To where you say, if I get 100 people in, and last year I closed 12 of them within 6 months, you can start to predict it. So you can say, what are the goals that I have in the front end with number of leads to know what is my output roughly in the back end. So it all comes down to data, but if you're not tracking it, you can't possibly say, is this worth it or not? So whenever you're going into anything new, understand, how am I going to track it and what's the key metric that is most important to me? I just went through this yesterday with the team. We've got a new reporting software that we implemented about 6 weeks ago. I think it's the best one out there. And even through all of these dashboards that we're creating that track all the data that our clients now have access to 24/7, whether it's 30 days, rolling 14 days, or quarterly, they have access. They have a link, and it goes through anywhere from 8 to 28 different data boards showing every single point that we're tracking. All of that information can be summed up in one single slide. And that's what we went through yesterday. As somebody said, you know what would be dope is if we can just have one slide instead of 18 or 20 slides. I was like, perfect. Went to a department and said, if I was to measure your success with one metric, what would it be? And everybody's like, well, I can't just do it with one, but can I have two? And it's like, okay, cool. You can have two. Okay. So for PPC, Regina came back and said number of leads and cost per lead, right? So if I'm tracking the number of leads, the data on the number of leads that come through, conversions, and the cost for it, it doesn't really matter how much I spent because I can judge it based on the cost. It doesn't really matter how many impressions I get, how many clicks I get. You can perfect all that, but if I can look at two numbers and say, is this going down the right path? Then those are the two numbers. So I'm like, cool. Create a data board, and I'm like, Regina needs these two. For this client, for PPC, she needs these two. Then I go to automation. I'm like, from a deal standpoint, everything that you're doing with automation, email marketing, etc. What are two numbers that you feel would be most representative of whether or not you're successful? Gave me those two numbers. From an SEO standpoint, what is one thing that we can track with SEO? There's so much that goes into SEO. Pages and keywords, and we track hundreds. For some of our clients, we track hundreds of keywords a month. What is their position in the start of the month? What is their position at the end of the month? What are the top 3 competitors for the same keywords? What is their position start and end? We've got all the data to support it. But if we say these 100 keywords or these 50 keywords are most important, what is the average position of those keywords? If those average position is, let's say 20, and we want to drive it down to the goal being the average of 1, they're ranking number 1 for all 50 or 100 of those keywords. I know that if that's going down at a steady rate, that we are improving and we're affecting other numbers. So by SEO going down in positions average, which means they're going to the top of the page, and with the conversions on PPC increasing, and the cost per conversion decreasing, and the number of deals quoted increasing, and closed deals increasing, they're all related to each other. If I have a lot of conversions and opportunities generated from PPC, it's going to increase the number of deals. If I'm decreasing my average SEO position, which means I'm moving up in positions closer to number one, I know I'm going to be showing up more for search, which should also affect that number of how many deals did we bring in last month with marketing. And then if my percentage of close and the number of deals I won is increasing, that means that the quality of it is also there. So like we brought in 165 opportunities, and just in those opportunities, let's say 6 of them closed for like $3.2 million for a client. We know that the quality is there. Now, if that number of closed goes down or it goes up, but the dollar amount decreases, well, we know it's not necessarily the best fit. So you can track pretty much anything, the success of everything that you're doing with marketing, with just grabbing a couple of key numbers. Now, once you have those key numbers, it's like, what do I do with this information? And like, how do I make it better? Well, that's where the other 8 to 80 data boards comes in. I could say, this is working, but I want to make it better. So what can I impact it? Now you start to peel back all the layers of the onion and get down to how many deals came from PPC, organic search, email marketing, trade shows, social. Like now you peel back everything, and I've got all these micro data points of like, I want to improve this one, this one, this one, and that one. How am I going to do that? Here's a strategy over the next 90 days. Measure the impact of what it is that you think. But if I wanted to sum it all up and just fingers on the pulse, is this working? One data board, a couple of points of information to say, yep, we look good. I trust that you guys know what you're doing. Keep it going. And then you just look at it. Where were we at last quarter? Where were we at the quarter before that? Where were we at year over year? But you're just looking at a couple of single data points. So if you don't believe anything, just believe that what is one measurable thing that you can look at and say, if this goes up, I know what it is, that I know that something's working. For most industrial companies, it's revenue. For most people in manufacturing, it's revenue. For most business owners, it's revenue. That we're not here to make friends with everybody. We're not here to be like, I just want to be the funnest, right? You're here to make money. You're a business. You have got a lot of people that you have to feed that are employees at your company. If that number is increasing and your efficiency is increasing, which means your profit is increasing, then that means that you're going down the right path in general. But if your revenue is increasing and your operating cost is increasing at a linear ratio of 1-to-1, hey, we just got a $1 million order, but it's going to cost us $1 million to make it. Well, then you're not profitable, and that's not a good situation. So just focus. If you don't have access to all of the data and you're just like, I don't want a CRM system, or we have one, but we're not tracking deals through that. We track deals through our ERP system because that's the easiest way for us to quote, because we have products or services and our press rates, etc. That's fine. Just look at revenue, or just look at, if you're looking at revenue, say what came from marketing and what came from sales, and just look at those two numbers and see if they're increasing steadily together to then impact that top line revenue. But you got to make a change. You would never stick with your equipment or your processes or whatever you're doing from 10 years ago to today. Don't do the same for your sales and marketing. We'll be right back after a short break, and we'll jump into the comments and answer any questions. All right, guys, we're back. There's only one comment. Laura's going to throw it up on the screen just so she can use her camera. Switch it to camera producer. There she is. What's that comment, Laura?
You said at the beginning of the show, who's ready? Sai said, me.
Sai is ready. And for those of you that follow this content, know that Sai is a long-time, engager of our content. And Sai might have a pretty cool story to tell here in the next couple of weeks. I'll leave that up to her to see if she can tell it. but stay tuned for that. That's like so much. This is so vague. She's got a cool story. We'll see if it's going to be an even cooler story in a couple of weeks. All right, guys, you got no comments. You're out there busy hustling, doing what you do, and I didn't promote this at all. Catch me on the replay. What? Why do you have that look? Is there a comment now? What's the comment say?
It's from Tim Drinkwater. He said, I was late, but I got here.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, brother. I've not engaged on social media in like 2 weeks. I feel like FabTech took it all out of me because we were just like beating that horse to death. And we won because of it. And we got so much success from that show. Catch me over on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. I'll see you guys. Is it next week? I'll see you guys next week.